Greetings, everybody, from Hannover Messe. We are in a Cybus booth here with Peter Sorowka. Welcome, Peter.
Yes. Hi.
So we're talking about the future of manufacturing software. And one of the questions I like to understand from you, Peter, is like, how is the manufacturing software fundamentally changing today?
So I think today, as you say today, I'm even giving a different answer than I would have given like 3 months ago, because so much has developed in the past 3 months. So anyway, for the last couple of years, we have seen a clear shift towards the cloud. So everything which traditionally has been on the shop floor nowadays has moved to the cloud, which gave manufacturing IT people more flexibility, quicker deployments, and less operational headaches. So I think this was step number one. The second thing that happened is that manufacturing software became more modular. So away from big standard IT systems towards more app-like, smaller, specialized applications. But what's happening today, driven very much by the capabilities of AI, is that we see that basically everybody in the company, even somebody only responsible for operating a certain machine, can generate software by a prompt. Vibe coding, it's what they call it. And I think it's not happening a lot yet, but we see first even enterprise manufacturing companies starting to experiment if they can generate applications and software and bring it into productions within a week, not within a month or a year, a week. And it's starting to happen. What I think is that we are just seeing the first signs of a tsunami of AI-generated applications because it's so cheap to generate new applications. So manufacturing software systems will change fundamentally.
So a lot of changes. What do you see for the traditional manufacturing execution software, the MES model? Is that still fit for the future? What side of the debate are you in? Is it dead, as some would call it?
I think it's more, it's not that simple. I would say it's not that simple for various reasons. First reason, in all of these debates, the people assume that every manufacturing company has an MES. That's not true. Many companies are still in the process of introducing an MES for the first time.
Or they are still in Excel?
And they're still in Excel. Yeah, you know, the secret abbreviation is MES is many Excel spreadsheets. Yeah? That's what many people see. That's true. So many companies have an Excel sheet on the desktop of the production manager as their manufacturing execution system. So standardizing that into a central system is the first step, and this will not go away. Second, the workflows. And also the derived workflows of being able to better analyze the manufacturing process, having less manual error. This is a transformation that is required to happen anyway. So, but today an MES, if you call it like this as a software category, is a pretty standardized system which you buy and then you customize it. So you buy standard software for money and then you customize this for another money. And I think this is going to change. First of all, because standard software plus customizing will be somehow replaced by, again, generating it customized and bespoke, tailor-made, to be honest, from day one. But I see no reasons why it shouldn't be still the same vendors that sell MES systems today who could offer this as a service somehow. But I think the MES in that sense will also change rapidly. And I think the focus will be more on the work process, the data handling, and the back end. Because again, the front end, so the dashboard the worker sees, or whatever happening on the tablet, where they enter their data and so on. This will be probably more modular than we see it today.
Now you referenced data handling. Maybe expand a little bit. Why is the data infrastructure becoming the foundation of modern production?
You know, a lot of the inefficiencies we still have in production. I mean, over the years, production has become more and more and more efficient, but bottom up. So every process in itself is super efficient. But whenever you have a CNC machine, very efficient in milling, an extruder, very efficient in plastics extrusion. The inefficiencies are when you have different systems that have to interact with each other, and very often you have manual effort. A worker with a sheet of paper having the next production order and then manually entering that into the machine, for example. And another worker that has a lot of decades-old knowledge, and you're required and dependent on that guy, because whenever he retires, there's nobody left who understands why the process works today but not tomorrow with the same parameters. And all of these problems can only be solved when we have a better digital supervision and digital control of the whole production. We have customers, or I talk to companies that say, with the upcoming labor shortage and with the competition from the East, the costs of producing anything in Europe is just too high, and we have to prepare to be able to produce 30 to 50% more with half the number of people by 2030. So I take all of these ingredients, and this will only work with hyper automation. Everything is digital and everything can be connected. And I think data is the fundamental resource for making that happen. And this is a shift, because until now everybody said data is a new oil and you have to sprinkle some analytics on it and then you will get some efficiency. I would say it's much more than that. It's the blood. It's the blood of the factory of tomorrow.
So you referenced AI earlier in the conversation. What needs to be in place for AI to deliver real value on a shop floor? You referenced coding. It has been accelerated over the last 3 months, but what else needs to change?
That's an interesting question, because also here we have a shift, serious shift. Until last year or so, everybody would have answered the same question by saying you need structured, well-contextualized data, right? Because 90% of every data science project, 90% of the effort is cleaning up the data. Now, everybody who has used ChatGPT or Gemini knows AI is surprisingly powerful with unstructured data. I make a photo of the handwritten homework of my daughter, total chaos on a sheet of paper, and say, ChatGPT, explain this, and that's enough. I don't need any more context, and it works. So contextualization and data cleaning as a problem has gone away. So I would say it's not structure and not context. I think in order for AI to be powerful, you need to create a space in which you, as a manufacturing company, can allow innovation and this extreme degree of innovation without risking that you lose control. Because when I let loose an AI-generated application to a machine, which that can control, you can basically easily, when you communicate with a machine, it's easy to just change the direction the robot arm swings. It's a safety issue, so you can really create damage. And I said AI application tsunami in the beginning, so losing control is quite easy. So I think creating an environment where you have a governance structure a trust structure, really an infrastructure which you can basically put the AI applications on top, but you can retain control. I think that is crucial for getting the best out of this new technology.
Peter, I want to end with a question. You talked about the changes we've had over the last 3 months that you've seen, but fast forward 5, 10 years, what do you see as manufacturing software? What do they look like?
I think we have two parallel tracks going on. One is the existing one. So I think the existing world will not go away that quickly. Why? Because when I see tenders, RFPs, RFQs today, they don't mention AI yet. So when you ask a procurement department to buy a new MES or to choose an MES, writing the tender takes a year, selecting the vendor takes another year. Implementation in the first site is the next year. So these processes are slow and extremely slow. So I think for the next 3 to 5 years, companies, because manufacturing companies are not used to quickly reacting on technology in the software space, they will still continue to buy MES system like they did for the last 10 years. This is track one. But this is not the scaling track. The scaling track is a difficult one. And I say that as a CEO of a software company, I'm asking myself, what is the value that we bring as software companies going forward? Because it's not source code.
Yep. You gave some examples on how people should be leveraging it today.
Exactly. And we see that nowadays, when we do not deliver a feature, a customer requests quick enough, because sometimes they say, okay, nice idea, but we don't have resources to prioritize. The customers are quicker in building the feature themselves than asking for a second time. So this whole make versus buy question, which always is a challenge for any software company when selling, flips extremely with the capabilities of AI. So I think creating, again, an offering where I have an end-to-end system, skill set maybe. AI agents thinks in skills, not in applications. So that customers can rely on, okay, whatever MES type of application will be generated by this AI, I can rely on that and I get support for that. I have a 24, because that's what Claude or ChatGPT doesn't offer. I generate my application, there's no 24/7 support hotline for that, right? So this full offering, I think, is still what we as software companies can provide. And we need to really excel on that, on the consulting part, on integrating well into the ecosystem, because the nice front end and the nice workflow is easily copied or replicated.
Peter, thank you so much for sharing the insights with us. And if you have questions, feel free to stop in, where are we in, Hall 15?
Hall 15, yeah.
Hall 15, and talk to the team here at Cybus.
Yeah, okay, thanks a lot.